I'm actively involving whole of NESPAC. It's a very big engineering consultancy organization, the largest engineering consultancy in Pakistan. So I am involving the whole of NESPAC. There are 23 working offices of formations, our departments. All the divisions have involved, all the disciplines, whether technical or non-technical, in R&D work, and it is paying back. So let us start. Today I'm going to present you a very interesting case history of how a deep excavation support system was designed and constructed for a tall building in Lahore in Gulbarg area. I would tell you that it is around 2007 or 2008 when this work had to be done, and I was a team leader in the geotechnical activity for this purpose. And believe me, that was my first ever experience. Myself and my team, we had never designed deep excavation support system like that before. But this is how you learn. At the same time, when we were busy in researching, in finding out the things, in learning, and applying that at site, scrolling through various codes and procedures and this and that and getting opinion. At the same time, some other such projects in Lahore, they were collapsing. So we had met a lot of success. Here, there is a spelling mistake. System SYS, there is E. Sorry for that. So very quickly, this is going to be a long lecture, and I hope you will bear with me. I have tried to make it interesting, but I'll be passing through quickly. And such lectures, which are of short duration, 1.5 to 2 hours, are not meant to give you each and everything and not meant to make you a real expert, but they prompt you. Such lectures always give you a lot of information. They prompt you to make a further supplementary study of manuals or books or through internet, going to credible sites. Okay, I'll first give you an overview that what is this deep excavation support system business and why it is necessary. Then I will define various types of deep excavation support systems, because it is not pile anchor system which is the only system available. Even in our country, some other systems are also being tried, and if you talk worldwide, there are many systems available. So then I'll discuss in detail the design of the anchor pile support system, right, on the design of anchors and on the design of piles, and then how they have been constructed, particularly at this tower location. And then I'll concentrate on the quality control aspect of testing before construction of the working anchors or contract anchors, and testing during their construction. So let's have an overview. Why are these required? So we should all know that it's not only Lahore, rather all the big cities, all the metropolitan cities in Pakistan and abroad, the land is getting scarce and expensive. So people are concentrating in big cities to raise vertical buildings. If vertical buildings have to be there, then naturally they will need to have basements for car parking purposes and other purposes too. Taller the building, generally more will be the number of basements. And so when we have big, deep basements, we have to have deep excavations. But what to do? In cities like Lahore, Karachi, Pakistan, or Islamabad even, sometimes we have to construct or to excavate in a very busy area where there are existing adjacent buildings and roads. What to do then? Then it becomes an issue. We cannot make such cuts on slopes, on stable slopes. That can be done only in barren areas, not in the busy inhabited cities with a lot of density of population. So here we have to retain vertical faces of the excavation, but how to do that? If we have to go 60, 70, 80, 90 feet deep, we cannot retain vertical faces. And there could be serious collapses of the adjacent building, and there could be loss of life also in addition to the loss of property, which is not desirable. So our Lahore High Court also passed a verdict some years back regarding this, and LD had to make some changes in the bylaws for construction that one cannot construct anchors into the adjacent property without the due permission, number one. And number two, there's a depth assigned that after having attained more than, I think, 10 or 12 feet depth, which is the normal basement depth for a common house building, one has to go for some support system essentially, and that would be generally in the form of piles or something else. So here we conclude that we have to provide such support systems. Support systems generally have been provided here as temporary works, that is to aid in holding the vertical sides of the excavation as the construction proceeds. And then they become useless. Some engineers consider this is waste of money. So why not to build them as a part of the permanent works, as a part of the permanent structure? This can also be done. So both approaches are there. If we have to design for a permanent conditions such pile anchor system, then they have to be with heavier, increased safety factor, and the materials and other specifications will also be stricter. But this one, the IT tower has been designed, its excavation support system has been designed as a temporary support system. Now, what are various support systems which are available? One is very common, conventional reinforced concrete retaining walls. In common houses, like double-story house, you see you have basements, so people will make basements either of brick masonry and or of thin reinforced concrete wall too. Both options go side by side, but dam proofing is a real issue. In many other areas, reinforced concrete walls and can be constructed to a deeper level. Then other option is the sheet pile, a thin sheet of metal structure, and they act as deep system going into soil, and they are called pile also, sheets driven. They're driven normally. The basic issue is that they are not manufactured here, so their availability at the short notice is difficult. Then third type is the RC, means reinforced concrete diaphragm wall and tieback anchors. Uh, Sometimes we can construct a thin wall of concrete called diaphragm wall with special equipment. It may have anchors, or it is, if it is not deep enough, it may be without anchors. Then there is another type which is called soldier piles, pile and tieback anchors and lagging. You see, I will explain to you what is meant by lagging, what these horizontal elements are. Then there are soldier piles with struts, the compressional elements, and using frames. Then soldier piles have been used with tiebacks, and this is the case of IT tower, soldier piles and tieback anchors, anchored which are tied back into the backfill. They are called tieback. So soldier piles, such piles are called soldier piles. Soldier piles are raking, in which the supports within the open area of excavation is inclined support. So that's called raking. And there could be piles cutting into each other, you see, so that it is a continuous structure. They are called secant piles, and anchors have to be provided with them. Then there are piles and strutting, no anchors, because anchors are done on the backfill side. But if we don't use anchors and we don't want to intrude into the adjacent property because of some limitation, other option available is we can use strutting. We can hold the opposite sides of an excavation together with horizontal compressional members called struts. And in addition, if the excavations are not that deep, like maybe maximum 10, 12 meters with the limitations, then we can have cantilever piles, no strut, no tieback. In addition to this system, these pile anchor system is also used in the reverse construction methodology, which is called top-down. In conventional methodology, which we use in IT tower and which is in very common practice in Pakistan, We first excavate, then start building from the base of the excavation upwards. That is called bottom up. Now I am telling you there is another technology called top down, in which we first construct the topmost floor, then excavate below it, then construct below it, and like this we go on and on, deeper and deeper, while supporting the side walls of earth with piles, with or sheet piles, which could be anchored. So now here you see the anatomy of the excavation support system. I hope you can see my arrow now also, which I am moving. So here you see this is a protected face and this is another protected face of the excavation. These vertical members are the soldier piles. These piles are called soldier piles. They are acting like soldiers standing erect to hold the excavation. And on the backfill side, the horizontal, you see short beams, they are the leggings. Can you see this? They are, you see, hooked on both sides of the piles, so that this gets a effect of the pressure of the soil and may have some minimal sagging also in them, you see, because they receive the pressure. These members receive the pressure of the earth. And this arrangement allows a lot of spacing between the piles, you see. And this is a temporary lagging arrangement, is a temporary arrangement. And these soldier piles are to be supported with horizontal beams. Can you see this horizontal beam? Such beams are called wales. There may be more wales, more than one, depending on the depth of excavation and the type of the soil. And these horizontal members at right angle to the wales, running from one face of the excavation to the other on the opposite side, are called struts. They are essentially compression because they are compressed from both sides by the pressure of the earth. So this is the common terminology in this activity. And here for your more elaboration, this is an elevation view of an excavation, vertical excavation. And here you see these horizontal beams are wales and these are struts, right? And here you see in the plan view, you see sheet pile, and this is a wale, the same, this one. This wale here and this is the strut. I think it is clear to you. And here you see a view of the sheet piles being driven by this heavy machinery. I think you can see this trapezoidal section of sheet pile on your screen. This one. And there are many other options available in the cross section of the sheet pile. These can be manufactured into any desired cross section and of any thickness depending on the requirement. So here you see them, some of the cross sections of sheet piles. So you can see clearly that there are units of the sheet piles which can be interconnected easily. What's the diaphragm wall? It's a thin reinforced concrete wall. Hello, yeah.
Sir, may I ask a question here?
Please.
Sir, sheet piles की maximum unsupported depth कहाँ तक जा सकते हैं हम? What is normally a recommendation?
Well, if it is anchored, they can be very deep, and normally when their depth increases, they have to be anchored. But the typical use, like 8-10 meters, is common, because you see, because of their sectional property, you see, they can hold normal ground up to 8-10 meters easily, right? But if you provide tieback anchors with the sheet piles, you can go fairly deep, 50 meters, 60 meters, even like that, or even more. So in a diaphragm wall, you can see in plan, this in the plan view, we excavate in portions. We may make a excavation here with special equipment called clamshell, that is called a bite. Then we keep a gap and again make an excavation and keep a gap. And this is the primary round, and in the second round we will be excavating the leftover portion in between the two, and whatever excavation or bite is made, that is filled with slurry at the same time, so that there is a hydraulic pressure and there is no seepage from the walls of the excavation, and this way it continues. And when The whole long excavation is completed. It is filled with reinforced concrete. You see, this is how a diaphragm wall goes. Deeper diaphragm walls do have tieback anchors too. Here you see in the construction sequence of diaphragm wall, so here a pre-trench is made, and then with this equipment, clamshell, this starts going deep, and here you see up to this level it has gone, and then it starts cutting into this, like this, and then removing soil from in between, so that this whole width is obtained, and then reinforcement steel can be loaded. And once it is done, uh, it is concreted. Concrete is started throwing into it, and the bentonite slurry, the slurry gets replaced with concrete. Slurry gets up, concrete goes down, and after these have primary panels have been completed, then in between these soil left over, the same process is repeated here, so that the secondary panels are also completed. And here is a view of a deep diaphragm wall secured with anchors. Can you see these anchors? These are the anchor plates, and this is the raft of basement. There could be, in place of anchors, if you don't want to go for anchors, we can use strutted struts or strutted kind of frame within the excavation. You can see. So this is whale going on, and these are the struts, strut members, connecting one face of the excavation to the opposite face and carrying a compressional force, strutted diaphragm walls. So here, this is one typical pile anchor system. You can see board piles with spaces in between them, and these beams are connecting them at two levels, 1 and 2. There are ways, and here you see the holes. They are in fact the anchors which have been made into the backfill soil to hold the pile wall, like this. This is the frontal pile, the soldier pile, and I was showing you the hole through which you see the anchor passes, and this portion is called the grouted portion, and this is the ungrouted portion. I'll tell you that what is the difference between the two. And here you see piles, you see, and different kind of struts, you see. Piles with different kind of struts for bracing, no anchors. This is possible. And these have been used, this kind of anchors at the, you see, corners in a few buildings in Pakistan too, and you can see these whales. There is no legging system. These piles are at some distance apart. They are closer, and they are somewhat some distance apart. So here, the wall of pile is supported with whales, and whales are in turn supported by inclined supports, the rakers or the rakes. And here you see inclined rakers, you see. They are like inclined strut, basically, holding a wall of piles which are not having any space in between. Can you see? In contrast to the earlier figure, this wall is without any space in between. The piles are interconnected. So you see, while you are having a good quality control and making the piles, you can see you can have excellent finished surface of the board piles too. They are having good cross section. So there are different kind of board pile walls. Now I am concentrating after showing you different kind of excavation support system. Now I am showing you that there are different kinds of board pile walls. The first type here on the top left is contiguous pile wall. What here it is, you have the reinforced piles, and there is a clear gap between all the adjacent piles, you see, so that this soil is supported here by arching, right? This is kept in such a way that soil will not get squeezed out. And in tangent piles, the piles surfaces are exactly touching each other. But don't think that this is a good waterproof system. If you have high groundwater table and if you want to construct change in piles there, water seepage will be there. It will not be successful. To control the seepage of water and to guard the excavation against high horizontal thrusts, secant pile walls are used. There are different kinds of secant pile walls. Two are more common. One is the one which is cutting hard to soft or hard to firm. Means that there are two types of piles you can see. One is reinforced, other is unreinforced. First of all, the primary piles are made, right? The primary piles are unreinforced. If they are unreinforced plain concrete piles, they are called hard to, and a reinforced concrete pile cutting into it hard to form. But if this primary pile is made of uh, bentonitic uh, concrete, in which bentonite is there and it's called flexible or soft concrete, and this arrangement will be hard to soft. A reinforced pile as a secondary pile cuts into on both sides into the soft pile. So we construct soft piles first, one, two, first, and then we make a hard pile, the reinforced pile, so that it cuts physically into the soft pile, so that there is no gap left. But there could be an arrangement which is possible that we construct hard piles, leaving a lot of, you can say, clear space, clear gap, or clear cover, and we have a reinforcement in the inner section, so that when you construct the secondary piles, you also have a closed arrangement. So secant piles are essentially those which are cutting into each other and have a closed arrangement. Very good for resisting high thrusts and very good to control seepage in totality. So they are considered the most, strongest walls to bear the highest thrust, and they are considered to bear less horizontal thrust. So, what are the use of anchors? Different anchors. In this system, we use anchors to tie at the back called tie back to retain earth. They can be used for stabilizing the slopes, and sometimes at the base of the foundation slab, like at the base of the mat, in marine structures or where water table is high, we provide vertical anchors going below the base of the foundation. So they tie the base down to the soil. They are called tied down anchors. Similarly, when there are pull-out forces, we do provide sometimes anchors to resist the pull-out thrusts. Anchors are used for temporary as well as for permanent system. So coming here, jumping to the IT tower, let's look at the soil condition and the subsoil characteristics in Lahore. First of all, Lahore has three different subsurface lithological profiles. One is the typical separate profile of the walled city, where we have deep fill like 35 to 40 feet, generally very big, very wet, and very heterogeneous, not reliable. Second is the deposits of soil near the river Ravi, because Lahore is, you see, laden by the deposits of sand of river Ravi, which are, you see, fine sand generally. It's a variable content of shale. But as we move away from river Ravi, you see, the stratigraphy changes. We have silt deposition and the thickness of the silt, the cohesive silt cover, you see, or low plastic silt cover goes on increasing. So at IT Tower, we are having this kind of situation. So if you look at the IT Tower, what IT Tower is, it is standing there. It has 6 basements and 27 upper floors. And you see, if this is Harley Road and this is a road which is coming from Main Boulevard will be running parallel to Harley Road like this. Okay. So at this corner is this IT building. I feel that many of you might have seen this building, but you can see that there are adjacent properties, roads on two sides, and there have been buildings already existing on the two sides. A brief look into the subsurface lithology. We have very low plasticity to non-plastic silts here, indicated by brown color. In the upper uh, uh, something like 15 meters or so zone, something like this, 15 to 20 meters, followed by fine sand within variable silt content. But this one, you see, silts are really low plasticity, and I'll tell you that in design calculations how they have been approximated. If you look at the standard penetration test below profile plotted between depth and the SPT blows, so you can see how the field SPT blows increase with depth. And this is the excavation level here, 64 feet, right? This is the ground surface. This is 64 feet. So the piles, anchors of the pile will be placed in this strength environment, while the pile which will be penetrating below the base level will be in this higher strength condition. So typically, just to show you a glimpse, that we call it silty clay, although this is silt of low plasticity, and like that. Oh, what has been, I'll be concentrating on the geotechnical design, right? Structural design is a separate entity. Here we will be discussing the geotechnical design. Several procedures given by several notable codes and manuals are available. For instance, the first one is the Federal High Authority of US's code. Then there is a Canadian Geotechnical Manual gives this procedure which is different. It is considered to be more complicated and requires more vigorous analysis, and making force polygons looks difficult. NAVFAC, Naval Facilities Command of US Navy, called NAVFAC. Manual gives a simpler method but considered to be conservative, rather conservative. So any facility constructed with this will be expensive. So besides, trenching and shoring manual also mentions this, and AASHTO standard specs for highway bridges give this, and in Euronorm, Eurocode 7, there are guidelines for this. At that time, we had selected, this was the latest edition of Federal Highway Authority of USA, so this system was used by us. Later on, some comparison was made by me and a couple of my co-authors to find out the comparison between the design obtained by different codes, and we have very good conclusion. But one was that this design was satisfactory.
सर अगर आप excuse me sir,
yeah,
सर ये ऊपर एक छोटा सा टैब आ रहा है सामने बिल्कुल टाइटल के ऊपर, इसको अगर आप मिनिमाइज कर दें, ये जो यू आर शेयरिंग योर एंटायर स्क्रीन, इसको मिनिमाइज कर दीजिए.
I see. Okay.
जी.
So variable ये मेरा trade जी
getting the benefit of this opportunity. आपकी इससे जो पिछली डिस्कशन थी उससे एक छोटा सा मेरा कंसर्न या क्वेश्चन था कि स्पेशली जब हम इंटरनल ब्रेसेस की बात कर रहे होते हैं तो उसमें अगर हमारे पास जो सपोर्टिंग सिस्टम है उसमें और जो हमारा रिटेंशन सिस्टम डिजाइन होना है फॉर द बेसमेंट्स, उसमें अगर डिस्टेंस बहुत कम है तो हाउ डू यू थिंक दिस सिस्टम इज एफिशिएंट फॉर ऑप्टिमाइज कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटीज? क्या आपके पास इंटरनल सपोर्ट सिस्टम भी एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है और आपने कंस्ट्रक्शन भी जो है वो साथ इन पैरेलल जो है वो कंटिन्यू करनी है? सो any point on
first of all, okay, first of all, when the space is too narrow, we don't expect that we are going to have something, you see, walls and slabs, and you see something like this. In narrow spaces, typically sewage pipes are laid. The pipes of the sewage system, 6 feet dia, typically have been laid in Lahore at many places at about 25 feet depth below ground or so. So when we do so, the system is there, wherein whaled and leggings and soldered pipes can be effectively, and struts can be effectively placed in sections, and laying of the pipe continues. But here you see, on the right hand side in the screen, you see it is rather a narrow kind of thing, but you see, you still see there are a lot many gaps. So it depends, you see, that how you place struts and how much gap do you leave in between. It all depends. that what kind of construction and what kind of structural arrangement has to be done. So the strut system has to be designed keeping that in mind too. It is variable and it is flexible. There is no hard and fast final more than this. So I am going back. I was discussing this standard penetration below profile and parameters and the geotechnical design and many codes available for this purpose. Now, main variables in anchor design. One has to consider that what is to be the diameter of the anchor. क्या डाया रखा जाए? What has to be the inclination? We don't have. I'm sorry. If you allow me, I'm taking my tea and snacks while I'm lecturing because I came home late. I forgot my flash memory in the office. Then I sent a runner to bring the flash memory containing the lecture material. Now I'm taking late tea. So anchor diameter anchors are never horizontal. They are always made at support because inclination will, you can say, reduce the force on the anchors, right? And the force component of the force is transferred onto pile in the form of vertical load. So the tendon type, what is the type from strength point of view? What is its own diameter? What kind of grout has to be used? And what is going to be the construction procedure? What is the ground made up of? Whether it's sand, shale, clay, dry condition, moist condition. How much is the unbonded length? I show you in one figure that the frontal portion of the anchor is called unbonded length. The portion behind in which the grouting is made is called the bonded length, the one which is bonded and which develops strength and resistance against pull out. Bonded length based on load and anchor spacing in horizontal and vertical direction. So what has been the basis of anchor design? Development of bond at grout-grout interface. I think you understand that when you have a steel anchor embedded into grout, and grout in turn is embedded into soil, into the surrounding ground or soil. So one mode of failure is that bond will develop between ground and the grout, right? So that should not fail. Second is the bond at the grout and the steel tendon interface, the reinforcing tendon interface, that should not fail. Then tendon itself should not fail in tension. Breaking strength should be adequate with this factor of safety. Then fourth mode is that the whole grouted anchor with a block of soil or a block of rock should not be put out. ठीक है जी, उसको कहते हैं पंजाबी में गाचा, गाचा ना पुटा जाए पूरा. आप समझ रहे हैं मेरा मतलब? I just try to explain to you that this is also a mode of failure in weak soil, in which the whole block of soil may move out. So the design has to meet these checks. Now, design of bond length, which is the ground to ground interface. So there are published values available for this, and there are various ways that we make use of that published value for different types of soil, giving ultimate bond strength, bond stress or bond strength, or ultimate load per unit length. This is available, literature is available in two forms. And based on evaluating actual frictional resistance below the ground and grout, because when the anchors are there in the ground, there is some load of the soil over the grouted portion of the anchor. The deeper the anchor, the more will be the load of the soil and more will be the pressing normal force. Higher is the normal force, more will be the frictional or pull-out resistance. You see, they are related to each other. Now, how to calculate the design earth pressure? For the design of a soldier pile wall without anchors, theoretical active earth pressure diagram using Ranger or Coulomb methods can be used, which you are very familiar with, that triangular distribution, famous triangular distribution. But for the design of an anchored wall or strutted wall, I didn't write the word strutted, you should read it, or strutted wall, the deformation pattern is quite different. It's not triangular anymore. Due to it is almost close to uniform stress, in fact, due to restraining effect of the anchors, and the above earth pressure diagrams are not applicable. This one. What I've seen in Lahore, you see there were some collapses in such system, like the one famous collapse at Alamgir Tower on Mail Boulevard. So I came to know after reviewing their material that they had incorrectly calculated the lateral stresses. They had used this Rankin's distribution in place of using the one which is to be used for anchored system. This is your Rankin or Coulomb type. You see stress distribution. You see lateral stress. If this is vertical, you see you have to multiply with this K gamma h, and if you want to find the load, you will again multiply with h and divide by half, so that you get area of this triangle. I think you are familiar. Gamma h square over 2 is the vertical stress. Multiply this with k, you get the lateral, and perpendicular to this face, if unit is 1 or whatever dimension it is, if you multiply, you get the total load. So I think this is basic civil engineering. I think you must have known this thing from your basic knowledge of civil engineering at bachelor's level. So unlike this system, earth pressure for anchored or strutted walls is different. And earlier in 1967, Terzaghi and Peck made the pioneering effort to give these values or these diagrams for homogeneous soils. And then there has been an approach to calculate these for stratified soil, the stress distribution. One method is the limit equilibrium method, your same slope stability type approach, in which you find out the factor of safety for a surface you see, and one tends to find out the least factor of safety or factor of safety for the possible failure surface. So using any slope stability evaluation method, or I've just listed here slope for windows if somebody is using GeoStudio, or FHW is apparent pressure diagram. So in IT Tower, FHW is apparent pressure diagram was used. Why it is called apparent? Because it's not actual, but it is modified, and it is on the basis of some recommendations given by them, on the basis of their study and instrumentation of the excavations, that how the pressure distribution will be. So this is old Terzaghi's distribution. Terzaghi back in 1967 said that for cut in sand which is supported with anchors or struts, assume a rectangular distribution, and if it is soft to medium clay, you assume this kind of distribution, and when it is stiff clay, cut in stiff clay, this kind of distribution, and their ordinates and their values have been given, you see. So that was at that time. But now FSWA provides a method which is based on finding the apparent pressure from the distribution style given by them. So what they say is that the active pressure acting over the excavation depth, that's a total load by the active earth pressure, is evaluated by Rankin. When total load determined in 1 was increased by a factor of 1.3. I show you how, what is meant by this. The factor load in 2 above was used to calculate P. I show you in the figure, it will be more clear. So this is the apparent diagram. This kind of pressure distribution was adopted for IT Tower, and here you see this is the idealized Rankin wedge rupture plane according to Rankin, located for active condition. At this angle is 45 minus 5 by 2, and this will be 45 plus 5 by 2 with horizontal. And here anchor points have been at 5 places, 11 feet apart from ground surface. The first one is 11 feet, and then 11 feet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because the ground stress which will be applied to wall will be horizontal, but we'll be providing inclined anchors going into you see that backfill. This means this horizontal this horizontal force, you see, which will be applied uh, by the earth pressure, will be equaling the horizontal component of the inclined anchor, horizontal component of the actual load carried by the anchor, right? And the vertical component of the load carried by the anchor will be transferred onto pile and transferred at all the levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The summation of 5 vertical components will be the total load because of this on the pile plus pile's own weight plus if any other weight or force effect is there. Now here you see if this distance is h1 equal to FHWA, this is 2/3 of h1. So this is how you construct this. And 2/3 here. And this P, how do you arrive at P? I'll show you in some other figure. Just wait. So, to sum up.
So may I have a question?
Hello?
Yeah, may I have a question, sir?
Yeah, please.
सर ये जो एंकर्स की स्पेसिंग है वर्टिकल स्पेसिंग इसका स्पेसिफिक क्राइटेरिया क्या होगा क्योंकि वी हैव एन ऑप्शन टू हैव मोर नंबर ऑफ एंकर्स with shorter length or we have longer anchors with less number of the anchors itself. तो ये किस बेस पे बेसिकली हम इसको डिसाइड करते हैं?
देखें बेसिकली इसमें जो पहला एंकर जो है ये ग्राउंड से कितने फासले पे हो, द ओवरराइडिंग फैक्टर इज द लोकेशन ऑफ यूटिलिटीज, सबसे अहम वो है, प्लस इट शुड बी हैविंग सफिशिएंट एम्बेडमेंट सो दैट there is a reasonable normal load onto it, ताकि एक reasonable frictional resistance बन जाए. ये ना हो कि इसको बिल्कुल यहाँ करीब कर दें तो फिर आपका वो बहुत लंबा एंकर की लेंथ बहुत होगी एंड इट मे इंटरफेयर विद द यूटिलिटीज. अच्छा, बाकी जो एंकर्स हैं ये कई दफा ये होता है कि नंबर वन दे आर एम्पिरिकली डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम एक्सपीरियंस, बट when I have been carrying out these design, these can be adjusted to see that how much reasonable is the length of the bonded part. देखिए जो bonded zone है आप उसको कितना 100 फुट गहरा तो नहीं करना चाहेंगे ना, that will be too deep. It has to be reasonable. Of course many combinations are available, but something like 30, 40, 50 feet of the bonded length, that looks very reasonable. इससे ज़्यादा हो तो वो बढ़ जाता है. So naturally we have to have anchors not at too much space apart. एक रफ कुलिया जिसकी मैं बात अगर कर लूं, देखिए we have to design the wall and to consider also that after all it is civil engineering, so there will be could be some little deformation. If we want to keep it exactly deformation free, then as a rule of thumb the anchor spacing should be less and the number of both in vertical and horizontal directions as minimum as possible to make it a stiffer element. और ज़्यादा stiffness element की तब requirement होती है जबकि हमने इसको permanent work के तौर पे इस्तेमाल करना है. Temporary work के लिए इतना नहीं होता, लेकिन ये normal इनकी जो spacing है vertical, ये 10-12 फीट से लेके 16, 17, 18 अगर अच्छी फॉर्मेशन है, यू सी डिपेंड्स ऑन द टाइप ऑफ सॉइल आल्सो ना, उसकी स्ट्रेंथ वैल्यू क्या है, 18-20 फीट भी हो जाती है. इट गोज ऑन लाइक दिस. सो देयर आर मेनी वेरिएबल. ये हो सकता है कि आपको शुरू में एक्सपीरियंस गेन कर लेगी एट अ सर्टेन पर्टिकुलर साइड, 2 या 3 ट्रायल करने पड़े स्पेसिंग के, देन यू अराइव एट अ रीजनेबल सॉल्यूशन व्हिच लुक्स मोर प्रैक्टिकल.
एग्जैक्टली. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
वेलकम. आप देखेंगे यहाँ 24 इंचेस यानी 2 फीट के पाइल्स इस्तेमाल किए गए एंड एंकर्स हैव बीन प्लेस्ड इन 15 डिग्रीज. वेल, द इंक्लिनेशन इज आल्सो आर्बिट्रेरली सिलेक्टेड, बट आई गेव यू द रूल दैट deeper the anchor, lesser will be the load onto the anchor and more force will be going towards the pile itself. फिर पाइल स्पेसिंग आ जाती है, क्योंकि आइडियली अगर हॉरिजॉन्टल हो जाए 0 डिग्री पे तो आपका जो है पाइल है उसके ऊपर लोड कोई नहीं आएगा, ठीक है ना जी। बाय मेक इट इन इंक्लाइंड, आप पाइल के ऊपर लोड, उसका पार्ट ऑफ लोड उस पर ट्रांसफर करते जाते हैं। फिर पाइल स्पेसिंग इसमें रखी गई थी। मैंने अभी आपको दिखाया था ना, देयर आर टेंजेंट पाइल, देयर आर कॉन्टिगुअस पाइल एंड देयर आर सेकेंड पाइल्स। सो वी हैव एन ऑप्शन कि कंटिन्यूअस पाइल में क्या कितना गैप हो। इफ द टाइप ऑफ सॉइल इज नॉट सेल्फ सपोर्टिंग और आप ज्यादा दे देते हैं, इट विल स्क्वीज आउट एंड देन वन हैज टू कंसीडर supporting the soil with some additional arrangement like shortcutting and putting net and shortcutting or taking some other measure. तो यहाँ हमारा ख्याल था on the basis of experience that we keep a space of 3.5 feet center to center, that is to say for 2 feet dia 1.5 feet clear distance. ये कुछ ज्यादा नहीं है, 18 inches clear distance. Although वहाँ ऊपर सील्स का कवर था तो उसके लिए हमने इस तरह का एक अरेंजमेंट रखा, जो कि अगर स्टिफ क्ले टाइप होता तो शायद उसको बढ़ा देते। टेम्परेरी सिस्टम यू सी। और अगर कहीं से स्लॉइंग हो भी जाए और इफ द मटेरियल स्क्वीज आउट ऑफ सम प्लेस यू सी बिकॉज ऑफ सम लोकल सीपेज इफेक्ट, इट कैन बी रिपेयर्ड देयर, वहां आप कुछ सपोर्ट भी दे सकते होते हैं। सो एंकर लेंथ नॉर्मली 20 to 55 फीट इसमें आई और बॉन्डेड लेंथ 15 to 30 फीट इसमें। अभी आपको दिखाते हैं क्या 5 rows ऑफ एंकर्स। एंकर लोड तकरीबन ये 53 से 69 टन है एंड एंकर लोड 60% ऑफ टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ स्टील रखा गया, ठीक है जी। So this gives an enough margin of factor of safety. So anchor tendons. So 4 tendons in every anchor, 4 tendons of half-inch dia, grade 270 steel, and each of the 4 tendons contains 7 wires. 270 KSI is a very high strength. Pile length below excavation base is 30 feet. Any excavation at IT tower is 64 feet deep. So unsupported length is 64 feet and the length of pile going into ground is 30. So this makes a total of about 94 feet. So stand type is 7 wire. वही मैंने आपको बताया कि टेंडन जो है उसमें 7 वायर्स की टेंडन है। Main features of design. Number of anchors as well pile per row, as well pile per row 226 per row. Vertical cut to be supported 64 feet. Pile diameter 2 feet आ गया, total pile length 94 feet. Anchor inclination 15 degrees. Pile spacing आ गई है, हमने देखी है पहले, ये डेटा वही है तकरीबन। Okay, let's go ahead. Design of bracing system, different failure modes. This bracing system, the piles are the bracing system, and the strands are the bracing system. Anchored pile wall may fail in the following modes. All of these modes had to be checked in the design. Tensile failure of the strands themselves, failure of bond between ground and soil and bond between stand and ground, failure of solder piles in bending. Yes, this is another element, that the structural strength, flexural strength of reinforced concrete pile in bending should be adequate. Failure due to insufficient passive capacity in front of the pile, right? Because 30 feet is embedded. If that embedment is insufficient, the pile, because of the lateral thrust, may fail because of low passive resistance below the excavation base. Failure by overall rotation of the whole system. This is very serious, and this needs to be checked by a slope stability program like slope window or some other mechanism. And failure due to insufficient axial capacity of the solder pile themselves. So this is a question of pile design capacity. I've not touched the pile design aspect in detail because I think that is a simple thing. Even otherwise, you people have been doing that. Given the load and diameter, you can always find out the length using the soil properties. So rotational failure of the ground itself. ये सारे के सारे मोड इसमें फेलियर के चेक किए गए कि ग्राउंड का अपना ही रोटेशनल फेलियर ना हो जाए, ये भी तो हो सकता है ना। Now there are two types of tendons. ये जो अंदर reinforcement है, these tendons are of two types. One could be the bars, other are strands. Bars are of 60 KSI yield load, and the higher tensile strength is for the strands 270 KSI. We have used this one. grouting type. There could be straight shaft gravity grouting or pressure grouting, and grouting afterwards, after placing the anchor under pressure, and under reaming, I mean increasing the diameter with the pressure or by some other means. Under reaming, in not basically by pressure, by boring during placing anchor in such a way that the diameter gets enlarged. That's called under reaming. So similarly, I'll give a copy of the presentation in PDF format afterwards. So I think the steps that I'm going to narrate, you will be reading these in 2 slides. There are steps because the time would be limited. I have to show you a lot of detail. So you'll be reading it yourself. So a typical anchor here you can see, this could be tendon or a bar. And here, this much is the unbonded length, this one. And this one is the grouted or bonded length, which will develop frictional resistance at the interface, right? This is the tendon going in between. These are the basic things, and this is the diameter of the grout.
Excuse me, sir.
जी बोले
सर
जी
अनबॉन्डिंग या बॉन्डेड ना जो टेंडन की एंकर में हम यूज करते हैं उसकी आपस में रेशियो भी है या जस्ट उसका एक्सपीरियंस बेस यूज करते
हाँ
हैं?
हाँ, वो मैंने आपको अभी वो रेडिकेंस फेलियर वेज दिखाई थी ना, एक at the angle of 45 plus 5f2 from horizontal. The portion of the or part of the anchor falling within the Rankine wedge, which is going to, during failure, it's going to move. That portion has to be kept unbonded, because if that is not unbonded and we bond in there, so during failure, the whole load will be acting onto the anchor. You got my point of view?
यस सर.
During failure, that load should not be counted in the load on the anchor. So that is separated physically from the anchored steel, and rubber tubing, frictionless rubber tubing is placed in that part so that it remains practically almost friction free, close to that. Okay. So
थैंक यू सर.
half-inch dia 4 tendons have been used, and I've already told that 7 strands, 7 wires per tendon of 270 KSI strength. Now, what has been the basis of design of pile? The common basis. First of all, piles have been designed and should be designed by static approaches, in which you calculate the skin friction and you find the base resistance and add up to and use a factor of safety, either separate factor of safety on both or composite factor of safety. So these are common approaches given in all the textbooks, nothing special. Loads on the pile should be considered and have been considered. One is a vertical component of the anchor load, as I told you, self-weight of the pile, and the lateral load derived from the excavation base. I will show you what is meant by this. Then design. The pile is base length based on load carrying capacity and load, and length to satisfy overall rotational failure. I mean, so much sufficient should be the length of the pile below the excavation that the rotational failure or the pressive failure is not possible. I remember in an excavation which was supported with piles and anchors near airport, where I think EOBI building is under construction now. That had failed about, I think, 10, 12 years back because of inadequate embedment of the piles, of the anchor pile system into the base of the excavation. Their embedment was less. So there was kind of rotational failure or failure because of low passive resistance. That also is very important. जमीन के अंदर पाइल कम गया हुआ था, बहुत आसान लफ्जों में. Oh, here you see, I've been talking of the apparent pressure diagram given by FHWA. It says, first of all, the lateral earth pressure is equal to, यानी lateral earth pressure से मुराद है आपका earth pressure because of the horizontal effect, this one, ये वाले arrows. At any point, the lateral earth pressure is equal to the horizontal component of the anchor force. ठीक है ना, एंकर आपका इंक्लाइंड होगा, उसका जो horizontal component है, this will have to match that, right? Thus, anchor force can be calculated. Okay, you know कि आपने एंकर यहाँ लगाया है, एंड ये जो कैलकुलेटेड lateral thrust है, इसके बराबर जो horizontal component है, that is a component of the anchor force, right? अब anchor force उससे आप निकाल सकते हैं by trigonometry calculation, and once you know the anchor force, you can find out the vertical component of the anchor force going into the pile. So that is the brief theory. It is easy. So here you see, this is the depth of excavation H here. इसमें तीन जगह पे एंकर्स लगाए गए हैं. Fourth is this reaction. इसको reaction के अभी मैंने बताया था पीछे. This is the reaction R. And here the spaces are H1, H2, Hn and Hn plus 1. Anyways, here this pressure P is the total load. Total पहले देखेंगे total load क्या है. Simple. Gamma H square into active earth pressure coefficient into 0.65, assuming a unit dimension perpendicular to this. ये तो retaining wall में जैसे आप करते हैं ना, उसी तरह अगर आपको ये dimension पता है, यानी center to center of anchor zone, which is 3.5 feet, then you will multiply this with 3.5 feet, because now you are calculating the load. I think you people are with me. I think you are understanding this. तो ये जो method है, ये coefficient 0.65 का साथ देता है, right? This total load has to be divided to calculate this horizontal ordinate of this apparent pressure diagram by total H minus 1/3 of H1 and minus 1/3 of Hn plus 1. ठीक है जी, ये इसका तरीका है, ये कोड में लिखा है. अब कोड की क्लॉजेज हैं, वी कैन नॉट चैलेंज इट, राइट जी. एक दफा जब आप करेंगे आपको ज्यादा समझ आएगी. अभी तो मैं आपको जस्ट गिविंग यू हिंट्स. सो दिस मेथड which uses apparent pressures is also called tributary area method. Tributary area method, that we are calculating the tributary areas. ये तो आपको पता चल गया कि यहाँ से ये डिप्रेशन कितना होना है, I showed you in the last diagram, और ये कितना होना है, right? And accordingly you can calculate P also. ठीक है जी. Then for clays, this kind of guideline is given in FHWA, that this vertical ordinate is B1 into H, B2H and B3H, and here are the values of those. Terzaghi and Peck ने ये दिए हैं, बाद में इनमें थोड़ा इख्तलाफ और थोड़ी FHWA की वैल्यूज ये हैं. आप देखें, this is 0, this is 0 and this is 1. क्या मतलब हुआ कि FHWA ने इसको rectangular करार दे दिया, but this was in 76. Now this latest FHWA again comes back to give you 0.7, 0.66 and 0.17. तो इस तरीके से आप इसकी प्रेशर डायग्राम जो है ना, ये P वैल्यू आपकी आ जाती है. तो प्रेशर निकालना असल चीज है. Once you calculate the pressure, you divide that into different zones depending upon the locations of anchors that you have decided for your first iteration, and you allocate the area which is responsible for bringing load onto each anchor point. ठीक है जी, ये बात हो गई. There's a commentary on the inclination of anchors. This is interesting. As I told you earlier, they may be from 10 to 45 degrees, and many values have been done. 15 to 20 degrees is very typical. 15 से 30 लिखा है, पर हम यहाँ 15-20 is very common. And regardless of the anchor inclination, the anchor bond zone must be developed behind potential slip surfaces, as I have told you, behind at least the Rankine failure wedge. Steep inclinations may be necessary to avoid underground utilities, etc., right-of-way constraints or weak soil, Anchor should be installed as close to horizontal as possible to minimize vertical loads resulting from anchor lock of loads. ये एक और बात इसने कर दी है. एक तरफ फायदा है कि स्टीप करें ताकि लोड कम हो, वो कहता है हॉरिजॉन्टल कर दे, नहीं तो लॉक ऑफ लोड के वो करीब आ जाएगा और प्रॉब्लम पैदा. However, grouting of anchors installed at angle less than 10 degrees is not common unless special grouting technique, because then I feel it becomes difficult. Gravity grouting at least becomes difficult. Pressure grouting can be done, but in very, you can say, low degree of inclination, the gravity grouting becomes difficult. So minimum unbound length for rock and soil ground anchors is 4.5 meters. ठीक है जी, इससे कम नहीं करें. Even if your calculation of the failure wedge shows 3 meters, you have to keep it unbounded length as a minimum 4.5 meters for strand tendons and 3 meters for bar tendon. एक तो ये असूल इसने दे दिया है FHW, this is code. And in general, the unbounded length is extended a minimum distance of h by 5 or 1.5 meter further behind the critical potential point. यानी कि आपकी रैंकिन वेज के लिहाज से वो 5 मीटर्स बन रहा है, तो उसमें आप 1.5 मीटर इजाफा करके अनबाउंडेड को 6.5 मीटर्स कर देंगे. ठीक है जी. टू अकोमोडेट माइनर लोड ट्रांसफर टू द ग्राउट कॉलम अबव, क्योंकि लोड ट्रांसफर होना है एंड he wants to remove the doubt that load transfer in the movable zone should not take place, just to safeguard of that. तो आप देखिए ये अनबाउंडेड लेंथ के तो क्लियरली इसके रूल्स पाए जाते हैं. अब लोड ट्रांसफर जो है बाउंडेड जोन में फ्रॉम एंकर इनटू सॉइल, एक तो उसका तरीका ये है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ सॉइल्स, लोड पर मीटर लेंथ, यू पिक अ फिगर हियर डिपेंडिंग ऑन द एसपीटी रेंज. ये देखिए एक सिंपल सा तरीका ये है. देन एन अदर मेथड इज दिस. द फर्स्ट मेथड will require the diameter of the grout anchor. बल्कि ये नहीं ये पर मीटर ऑलरेडी दे चुके हैं, दिस डजंट रिक्वायर दैट. दूसरा जो है ये अगेन डिपेंडिंग ऑन डिफरेंट टाइप्स एंड सॉइल्स एंड रॉक्स, डिफरेंट ग्राउंड कंडीशंस. ये देखिए एवरेज अल्टीमेट बॉन्ड स्ट्रेस, ये इसने दे दी है यहाँ वैल्यूज. अच्छा, दो कॉलम्स हैं, इसके लिए ये वैल्यू एवरेज अल्टीमेट, फिर ये दूसरी रॉक या सॉइल टाइप, ये क्लेज एंड सेल्स एंड दिस उनके लिए ये है, और ये सैंड्स एंड अदर आगे उनके लिए है. तो यू कैन सी सो देयर रेंजेस आर अवेलेबल. एंकर डिजाइन का तरीका, ये तीसरा तरीका जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया था वो ये था. अगर इस फिगर में देखें तो नीचे वाला एंकर जो है इसके ऊपर दिस इज द नॉर्मल स्ट्रेस, व्हाटएवर से दिस इज 30 feet. You know the density and average normal stress. So for this normal stress, F is equal to mu n. You know the angle of wall friction. You can calculate the frictional resistance. Similarly, at the center line of this grouted anchor, say it is 15 feet deep. So you can again calculate the normal stress and the frictional resistance accordingly. ये तीन तरीके मैंने आपको बताए हैं. बॉन्ड आप तीनों से चेक करके जो उसमें मैक्सिमम है फॉर द सेक ऑफ सेफ्टी उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. Here you see practical demonstration of the spacing requirements. Here you can see now that vertical spacing की बात करें, पहले तो कहता है कि पहले एंकर का ये जो जोन है it should be 4.5 मीटर मिनिमम. ये एक रूल इसने दे दिया है. ठीक है जी. फिर ये कहता है ये डिस्टेंस x, पोटेंशियल फेलियर सरफेस से मिनिमम अनबाउंडेड लेंथ बार वाले में 3 meters and for strand 4.5 meters, and x is equal to 1.5 m or 0.2 h whichever is greater. तो यहाँ तक आपका अनबाउंडेड लेंथ आ रही है, यानी it is well beyond the Rankin's failure wedge, and this horizontal angle here is 45 plus 5/2 for the active thrust case. ये तो साइड व्यू है. and now look at the plan view. प्लान में ये आपके पाइल की बॉल जा रही है, दिस ब्लैक इज द पाइल वॉल, इसमें पाइल गोल गोल समझे कि वॉल बन गई, और ये एंकर ऊपर से तो हॉरिजॉन्टल लगेगा ना आपको, बेसिकली इट इज इंक्लाइन गोइंग इनटू द ग्राउंड. दिस इज द डीपेस्ट पॉइंट. तो दिस हॉरिजॉन्टल स्पेसिंग ये आप देखें कि एक तो इसने 20 के बोल दिए, SH शुड बी मोर देन 1.2 मीटर्स, कितना बना 4 फीट, ये एक मिनिमम इसने कहा कि इससे ज्यादा हो, अदरवाइज because anchored around the grounded zone they stress the ground and then the stress zone will tend to overlap, and this minimum spacing that it should not be less than this is to rule out that. ठीक है जी. अब आप ये देखें IT टावर का ये प्लान व्यू है और ये एलिवेशन व्यू. अगर आप एक्सकवेशन के अंदर खड़े हों, दिस इज द बेस ऑफ द एक्सकवेशन. ठीक है जी. आपको ऐसे पाइल्स दिखेंगे, ये ग्रीन ग्रीन, ये देखें 1 2 3 इस तरह ये चल रहा है. इट इज कंटिन्यूअस and these are the anchor points. How many whales are there? 1 2 3 4 5. No leggings here. ठीक है जी. No leggings have been used. So just whale beams are there and that's it. 11 feet आखिरी 9 feet पे है. अगर इसका आप साइड व्यू देखें, सेक्शनल व्यू, now it is very interesting to see that we know that as the depth increases, this is the base of the excavation 64 feet deep. As the depth increases, the vertical overburden stress, effective vertical overburden stress goes on increasing. Thereby meaning that the normal stress at any depth will be increased with the depth. You see, it will be more with the depth. इसका मतलब ये हुआ, when normal force is more, any anchor for pull out will be having more strength, it will be experiencing more resistance against pull out at deeper level. So hence you see the bonded length of the lower anchors have been reduced according to the calculations. ठीक है ना. एक तो ये ना कि सॉइल टाइप एक चीज होती है, तो दूसरा होता है कि उसकी डेप्थ. बिकॉज द ग्रेटर इज द डेप्थ, हायर विल बी द फ्रिक्शनल रेजिस्टेंस. और ये जो एंकर बाहर जा रहे हैं, ये आप ये देखें कि ये पीवीसी कंड्यूट की हाउसिंग है, उसमें 4 हैं, ये 4 आपके ये स्ट्रैंड्स हैं, 4 नंबर, और इनमें 7 तारे हैं. ठीक है जी. और ये ग्राउट है, दिस इज 1:1 सीमेंट सैंड ग्राउट. ये इसका crudely speaking, this is a crude arrangement, schematic arrangement. Now going into construction, piles of 2 feet dia and 90 feet depth were constructed by rotary bucket. बोले, हेलो,
ये एंकर को फिक्स
I cannot hear. अगर आप कुछ कह रहे हैं आवाज नहीं आ रही. हेलो
हेलो सर.
हेलो
सर
बोले.
एंकर को एंड पे सपोर्ट करना, एंड पे इसको कैसे सपोर्ट करते हैं, या इसको सिर्फ
अभी कंस्ट्रक्शन डिटेल दिखाते हैं. When you make a hole, you have spacers which are lowered into the bow hole along with the anchor tendons and the grout assembly. So the spacers are meant to keep, you see, the anchor bars concentric within the hole. So वो arrangement automatically हो जाता है. There are spacers. उसकी लेंथ में 4-5 स्पेसर डाल दिए जाते हैं ताकि जो स्टील की एंकर की जो असेंबली है, टेंडन्स की और स्ट्रैंड्स की, दैट रिमेन्स विद इन द सेंटर एंड द मिनिमम कवर इज देयर, राइट. और कोई तरीके से होल्ड नहीं किया जाता. ओनली दैट इज द वे दैट इट इज प्लेस्ड एंड देन शोड बाय सेंटरिंग अरेंजमेंट. सेंटरिंग डिस्क उसको कहते हैं, वो आपको दिखाते हैं अभी. सेंट्रल स्पेसर डिस्क. अब cage was lowered in the pile in 3 pieces and concreting was done by TRIMI method. I think you are familiar in which there's a long funnel and concrete is discharged at the bottom of the funnel. 3000 psi concrete was used. Very interesting statistics that these piles, which were 94 feet long and 2 feet dia, so their average drilling time by the dry rotary bucket method was 5 hours. Cage loading took 2 hours on the average, and concreting took 3 hours, and overconsumption was of the order of 10 to 15%. Here you see, this is the, you see, ram of the rotary bucket here, and here you see the bucket itself. It is gone into the ground. It rotates and collects the excavated or cut soil in it. There are valves present at the bottom. They collect the soil. There is no water, no fluid to be used in this technique. And can you see it is done right to the adjacent to the boundary wall, just a few inches, 3-4 inches away. This is useful. Can be done easily. Here you see, this is the rotary bucket and cutters are here. The cut soil in the borehole enters into it, right? It rotates and presses against the soil and then makes a bore. And the hole is done right adjacent to the property line. Here you can see how many inches you can now guess. This is the thickness of bricks, 3 inches. This will be 6 inches or so, maybe. So this is steel lowering operation, right, in the pile, cage lowering and measurement of the lap length. And here you see creamy concreting with bucket, which is lifted with a crane. 150 mm, and here you piles after excavations after the first row of anchors. When the piles have been made, the anchors are installed in rows. First of all, we make excavation up to the first level of anchors, right? And then put anchors, build anchors, and then start and load them, and then start excavation below to the second line like this. And here you see, piles are in fairly good condition, you could say. So inclined drilling was done at 15 degrees. I show you how the anchor assembly was inserted. Grouting was done in 2 stages. One was called first stage grouting, which was gravity grouting, which consumed 6 to 7 bags. And after that, water flushing was there under high pressure to induce cracks in the first stage. That is the requirement. First stage grouting is just to fill the hole with the gravity, but then there is water flushing under high pressure, and so that the concrete or the grout material gets cracked. And the second grout stage, which is under high pressure now, it is not gravity grout, it is under high pressure. It allows the slurry, the grout, to penetrate, you see, deep into the cracked part and into the soil too. Tight control of water cement ratio 0.4. Plasticizer was used, and stressing and testing of the construction time. In anchor business, the construction time was about 3 hours in the first row. Average time for tendon insertion. Pardon? Yeah.
Sir, if you please go to the previous slide.
Yeah.
How could we get this so high strength of grout, 21 megapascals?
Yeah, it is by addition of a plasticizer. Intraplast 1.4% of cement weight was used.
Okay.
And you see, grout was 1:1. It was, you see, 1:1 ratio. So it was a very strong material.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So average time for flushing, you see, flushing of water is quick. Just 2 to 3 minutes. Average time for second stage grouting 2 to 3 minutes. Average time for first stage grouting 5 to 10 minutes. So in all, the grouting mechanism has taken something like 10-12 minutes in total. And average time for tendon is half an hour. And taken by drilling for anchor, 3 hours is maximum. Then half an hour and about 15 minutes for grouting. So 3.75 hours, or you can say roughly maximum 4 hours per grout, per anchor. Yeah. Now boring for anchors. It was done at IT Tower by manual equipment using indigenous equipment, and it is labor intensive poor labor did the job very well. So I'll just tell you that when some holes collapse, you see, because of less holding capacity of the type of soil, the hole was filled with water, you see, to avoid collapses. A special guide frame was prepared to guide this is the auger, uh, which is used basically. This is the auger which is used to drill the hole, and this is the, you can see the inclined frame at 15 degrees to guide the auger drilling stem rod to make a 15-degree inclined hole. Can you see a beautiful local simple arrangement to make inclined anchors, anchor assembly? Well, we have already talked about it. Let's go into the figures. I've shown you many things. Anchor strand roll. They come in rolls like this. 270 KSI. You can see 4 such strands, and this is a grout pipe. Second is a permanent fixture. It sets within the anchor by the first stage grout pipe is drawn out. So that's why you don't see the first stage grout pipe here, right? 4 strands and second stage pipe, and this is all, okay? This assembly was, and you see these are the spacers. Somebody questioned that what is done to tie or keep the anchor in contact with the ground or something like this. So these are the spacers which are put at intervals so that there is ensured a spacing of the reinforcement bar and some cover is there. The spacer, you see, like this. Second stage grout pipe is the red one. आपको नजर आ रहे हैं? There are four stand, 1 2 3 4, और हर एक में 7 वायर है. ये है एंकर का निजाम इसका. अच्छा. So this is how in the hole this is being pushed now by manual effort. So a hole at inclined with the frame, then loading it within the hole, and then will be the grouting. First stage grouting, water flushing, and second stage grouting. ये मैंने पहले तफसील बता दी है, इसको जरा आगे ले जाते हैं. Grouting equipment, the pump, and drum with the grout mix is there, and you see pipe through which the grout will, the grout pressure gauge is also there. Okay. So here you see now the first stage. This is the second stage grout pipe. ये ऊपर लिखा गया with the strands, and this is the first stage which is inserted with low pressure, almost close to gravity or slightly more than that, and then taken out. And this is for sounding, just to ensure that the first stage grout reaches everywhere in the hole. ठीक है जी. तो फर्स्ट स्टेज की ग्राउटिंग ये इस तरह पाइप से कर रहे हैं. Anchor blocks and anchor plates, what are these? Purpose of the anchor block and anchor plates is to distribute the load from the anchor to the soldier piles. ये आपको दिखा दें. आप देखिए ये फ्रंट व्यू है. ठीक है जी. ऐसा करें कि ऊपर से टॉप से देख लें प्लान में. This is a circular pile, and this is in front of it to develop reaction is the anchor block, जिसको हैच किया गया है ना. और इसके आगे ये छोटी सी ये स्टील प्लेट है जिसके आगे एंकर को, ये देखिए वेज प्लेट, ये वेज प्लेट है, इसको वेज प्लेट कहते हैं. इसके आगे इसके ऊपर है. व्यू ऑफ the piles and the reinforcement steel before pouring concrete for the anchor block. These could have been made a continuous beam. उस वक्त बहरहाल ये डिसीजन इस तरह का हो गया कि इसको डिसकंटिन्यूस रखें, इससे भी काम चलेगा. Perhaps the purpose was to save some concrete, but in my opinion it was not a very good decision. अब ये देख रहे हैं, ये एंकर्स के ये नजर आ रहे हैं आपको, एंकर के स्ट्रैंड्स निकले हुए हैं हर एक में से. So anchors are in between the piles. ये पाइल है दरमियान में एंकर, ये पाइल है और ये पाइल है दरमियान में एंकर, राइट. So here, after construction, now this is the wedge plate, this is the anchor plate. अब आपको clear नजर आ रहा है, और ये continuous आप समझ लें कि ये एक wheel है जो कि anchor blocks हैं, all connected together and acting as a whale, right? As a horizontal beam. और ये आपके एंकर की बार से निकली हुई नजर आ रही हैं चार चार. ये वेज है which is used to lock the anchors into the plate. जैसे फिंगर्स आपकी होती हैं तो उस तरह ये अंदर जाता है. How anchors have to be stressed. देखें ये बड़ा अहम है. It's not just that you put anchors and the system will start operating. No, you have to tell them. You have to tell them that you have to carry load. So you have to apply load onto them. अगर आप लोड नहीं लगाएंगे तो उन्हें लोड लेने की आदत नहीं होगी, और होगा ये कि पहले कुछ डेफॉर्मेशन होगी in the actual work and then they will start taking load. What we want is that they should whatever movement has to take place, that should take place, and they should carry the load, and afterwards they should move minimal so as to meet the requirement of the standard. So stressing of the anchors was started after expiry of 16 days of their age, and stressing ensures that a known load is applied to the anchor. Stressing also allows to establish that the required capacity has been achieved. So virtually every anchor has to be stressed. So in a way, it's a kind of test also, that every anchor is being tested to against pull out, we can say, by applying hydraulic jack. After the tendon has been stressed to lock off load, the jack was removed and tendon was held in position by the wedges. फिर जैक को उतार लेते थे और वेजेस लगा देते थे ताकि वो स्ट्रेस्ड पोजीशन में एंकर रहे. उसको लॉक ऑफ लोड कहते हैं. द लोड एट विच इज द लोड लेस देन द स्लाइटली लेस देन द डिजाइन लोड, जो स्टैंडर्ड की रिक्वायरमेंट है, समथिंग लाइक 80%, उसको कहते हैं लॉक ऑफ लोड. कैन यू सी दिस वेज? यू कैन सी ये इसका छोटा हिस्सा है, smaller area diameter, and this is larger, and you can see it can separate. Can you see? ये अंदर जाके you see ये मेटल के या एक रिंग के साथ ये सिक्योर हुआ है, but you see it can even expand, you see, according to the size of the hole. It fits into the hole in the plate and holds a bar firmly. ये देखिए wedges लगा दी गई है. They have been put and the wires have been, ये देखिए यहाँ से खुल गया ना, ये थोड़ा सा आपने देखा वायर के मुताबिक इस तरह से ये लॉक करता है. ये देखिए. Now jack is being applied. अब ये वेजेस यहाँ लग जाएंगे, ये सारी इधर भी लगेगा, इधर भी, और वेज लगा दी गई है. सॉरी, वेज इज ऑलरेडी देयर. तो ये स्टील रूलर के साथ इसकी स्ट्रेस लगा के मेजरमेंट, एंकर बीइंग स्ट्रेस, elongation is being measured with a steel ruler. उसके साथ भी कुछ टेस्ट किए गए थे. ये देखिए, wedges in place, wedge plate and the anchor plate. I think now it is very clear. तो इसके बाद टेस्टिंग to confirm that anchor can support load. जी बोले.
So anchors are stressed. Isn't it a good idea to have some kind of instrumentation like strain gauges on the anchors to monitor their stress relaxation in future? Because that is the most important thing, that they should not relax. They should always be under tension. So did we do any kind of instrumentation in this project?
No, instrumentation, the idea is not bad, as you're saying. Relaxation is very important. The other method of, you see, having a control is to measure the movements or monitor the movements of the whole system. That is, if there is some kind of relaxation effect and accordingly there is some movement also of the backfill, that has to be indicated in some form in the overall system too. So the monitoring on the surface was done, but there was no instrumentation, you see, done on the to find the relaxation, because otherwise it could have been difficult. You know, I tell you, at such sites we cannot go into this kind of activity which is not standard. The standard also doesn't require, FHW doesn't require that we should do like this, you see, because they know that if it is a 64 feet deep excavation, it would be very difficult to, to bring high tables or high ladders and then go to different points and then go on measuring the stresses by applying jacks and, or applying pressure cells. Yes, some of the, in case of doubt, some of the anchors can be tested again and the stress can be found out.
Uh,
So,
Sir, they are regularly checked by knocking. यानी every anchor is checked whether if the wedges are loosened or not. वैसे जो regular checks होते हैं वो तो सर surveying के through होते हैं. We mark different points on the retention system, and then after a certain time it is checked कि if there is any displacement or not.
जी, डीप एक्सकवेशन में इस तरह के चेक करना और बाकायदा इस तरह लेबर को और स्किल लेबर को ऊपर ले जाना और जैक्स के साथ मे बी सम फ्रेम्ड असेंबली बिकम्स टू डिफिकल्ट. इट बिकम्स टू डिफिकल्ट. तो उतना ही किया जाता है जितना पॉसिबल है. हाँ हाँ, अलबत्ता अगर इसमें कोई डिस्ट्रेस की जो इंडिकेशन है, दैट कैन बी वेरी क्लियरली सीन बाय ऑब्जर्वेशन एंड बाय मॉनिटरिंग द मूवमेंट ऑन द टॉप. वो भी तो एक चीज़ है ना कि अगर आपके पाइल या आपका ग्राउंड सरफेस बैकफिल साइड पे मूव कर रहा है या उसमें कोई इंडिकेशन आ गई है किसी हिस्से में मूवमेंट की, तो दैट विल बी अ रेगुलर चेक. बट सम ऑफ द एंकर्स which are in doubt can be tested because of any reason, if doubt is there because of any reason.
Sir.
So,
Sir, if any movement starts at a local position, or you say at some selected piles, what is the most appropriate, I would say, reaction of the engineers at that time? What could be done?
well, number one, properly designed system, first of all, in which some anchors have been tested prior to construction of the anchors to find out the uplift load. I mean, some advanced testing, not as a part of the, project pile, some project anchors, some test anchors have been tested and their pull-out capacity or the load has been determined. And this has been done in adequate number, as was done here, and in different ground condition as has been done here, then there is very little likelihood that a big number of anchors will start moving because the quality control will already be there. But if there is some movement, of course, then there are, the movement may be sudden, but normally it will give some indication, and all of the system will not start moving all of a sudden. So naturally, one thing is that if we have time, more anchors can be, more anchors can be inserted and can be driven. That one remedy is this. And second is that immediate arrangement should be made to at least start raking, if strutting is not possible, to start raking of the excavation. One good key is that because they are temporary systems, as soon as the anchors are constructed, the bottom-up construction should start immediately, because when the slab of the first roof slab of the first basement would be cast, that will be acting as a restraining strut in the whole excavation. So likewise, when we'll be going further up and the slab of the second basement will be cast, that will be another strut. And by the time we start constructing, we start off removing the load from the anchors. That is called a de-stressing of the anchors, so that the anchors don't remain in stress condition, and they are not desirable if somebody carries out excavation in the vicinity on the other side because of any reason. If there is a stressed anchor, that may result into accident because it will have the tendency to fly all of a sudden.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. So basically, three types of tests have been done here: proof tests, performance tests, and the pull-out tests. And other test which is also recommended by FHWA, it is written there, that is called extended creep test. So we thought that since our proof and performance tests were giving good results, we didn't go for those long duration tests. So proof tests here you can see were performed on 35 anchors, about 15% of total, and performance tests were performed on 44 anchors, about 20%. with test loads at 150% of the design load and some were at 120%. All the tested anchors were tested and the movement during the test were measured with a steel ruler, while movement during the load hold was measured with a micrometer. Anyway, I mean, that could give a reasonable kind of indication. Here you see the measurement being done, proof test. So what was the proof test? Firstly, alignment load, subsequently full test load was applied in one cycle, full test load, 120% or whatever. The load was held for 10 minutes and then decreased to the alignment load. The test load was kept as 120% of design load for most anchors. Some anchors had test load of 150% of the design load. ठीक है जी, ये इसमें इस तरह के टेस्ट की इंडिकेशन है. आप देखें क्लस्टर फर्स्ट 3 रोज ये टेस्ट हैं. So of course there is some spread. In performance test इसी तरह किए गए. Procedure was to perform first load cycle. During first load cycle, the load was raised to 33% of the design load, and then it was removed back to the alignment load. Procedure was repeated for the loads of 66%, means in the second cycle 66%, and then it was brought back, and then 100% brought back. So in increments, in cyclic increment, it went up to 150%, 1.5 times of the design load. So this was the test load was held, ultimate load was held for 10 minutes to measure the creep deformation. 44 performance tests were performed, 10% of the tests failed. So where the failed, we provided new anchors. So this was a sheet to record their values and the cyclic behavior. You see, like this was plotted, and here you can see that for different percentages of the cyclic load, 33% at 33% load, this was the elastic movement, but upon removal of the load, this one was the permanent set, the residual settlement. So likewise, when there was this much of movement, this much was the permanent set. So this is how elastic and residual movement and their theoretical deformations were calculated. So performance just in second row and fourth row. So there was a lot of. So there was. This is what I wanted to. Criteria for acceptance of anchors prescribe limits of creep. Basically, the limit of creep is there, and elastic movement measured during anchor test. That there is a value. इतनी वैल्यू होगी तो एक्सेप्टेबल. अगर इससे ज़्यादा है तो आप समझे कि ये वीक है एंड दिस नीड्स रिप्लेसमेंट और रिफर्बिशमेंट. The measured total movement for the required load hold at test load should not exceed 1 mm. Ultimate load पे maximum पे 1 mm से exceed ना करे between 1 and 10 minutes. If it does exceed that 1 mm, the load hold should be extended for a further 50 minutes so as to complete 1 hour. ताकि 60 minutes पूरे हो जाए. The total movement in the 60-minute hold should not exceed 2 mm for the test to pass. अगर ये 2.5 mm भी हो गया होल्ड के दौरान इस तरह जो तरीका है तो वो एंकर आपका फेल हो जाएगा. ये होल्डिंग का क्रीप का क्रेडिट. क्रीप मूवमेंट उसी तरह मॉनिटर करने के लिए माइक्रोमीटर लगाए गए हैं. De-stressing of anchors is required to be done. जैसे मैंने बताया कि जब आप नीचे से कंस्ट्रक्शन करते हुए ऊपर आए and you are casting slabs and walls. So every slab acts as an abutting element, as a strutting element to hold the opposite sides of the excavation. तो साथ साथ आप उसका लोड रिमूव करके वेजेस निकालते जाते हैं. तो कैसे किया जाता है? फर्स्ट, de-stressing is done by applying a force to the tendon sufficient to loosen the wedges ताकि लूज हो जाए, which are then taken out. The force required to loosen the wedges has been mostly slightly in excess of the lock of load, 34 tons. So in the end, you see, this was the result. Row 1, 2, can you read this? 3, 4 and 5th row. ठीक है जी, ये ऊपर कैपिंग बीम थी टॉप पे, these are the top of the piles. So what would you say? These are the board piles, 94 feet deep, and at the base of excavation they are 64 feet. I would say, so far as board piling is concerned, they are of fairly uniform section, and I would say the spacing is also reasonable and their surfaces are good. So good work, I would say. In civil engineering, these kinds of works are good. There was no significant sloughing. You can see the anchor points here. This is a bigger view before pouring the mat. Now you can see mat construction. Column started after construction of mat. Why do they
So any
generally
dewatering
fail?
required over here?
I think
Any
dewatering
kind
was
of
not done
dewatering?
here. No. That was not required. Water table was deeper. Not done here. Main causes of failure of ground anchors. क्या वजूहात generally होती हैं? Inadequate soil investigation, or if they are carried out, they are not interpreted properly. The design is faulty. The stresses have not been catered for properly. As I told you, one big cause of error is considering wrong value of stress for the cantilever system, and lack of appreciation of safety of adjacent works, which is very important. Otherwise, these situations may lead to litigation in the courts, and arrests could be there, and that would be very serious. Imposition of heavy fines and arrests and punishments and this and that. Then incomplete structural detailing. This cannot be afforded. Improper coordination between the designer and the contractor and the supervising team. Poor workmanship by the contractor, by his machinery, by his labor. And sometimes the environmental factors are ignored. What could be the environmental factor? It's not only the rise and fall of water table, it could be rainfall also. And some operations are not to be done during rainfall, and if rainfall is there, adequate measures for drainage or protection from rain and other things are really needed. So in conclusion, you can see this system, which was my and my team's first ever design of this type. Afterwards, I happened to design many, but this was the first experience. And it was just reading the code and the provisions and carrying out tests very carefully at every step, going by the engineering norms strictly, and we met success ultimately. So anyway, let's go ahead. Well, I just want to, one of my papers is, we referred here to, this was a paper published in 2006. Myself, Junaid Ahmed, and Sadaf Saeed, support system for a deep excavation in the metropolis of Lahore. Yeah, this was presented in 4th International Civil Engineering Conference of IEP in Karachi. I remember I went there and I presented this as our first marvelous experience. So let me show you some photos of whale and strut system and tiebacks. Ye kaun sa hai, this one? Combination with soldier and tieback anchor at Pace Tower in Gulberg. I see some movement here. आप देखें, ये जो movement है, this is not desirable. ये चीजें यहाँ खिसक रही हैं, या कुछ मसाइल हैं इसमें. इसका क्लोजअप दिखाया गया है. ये उसका व्यू है. So anyway, the system worked and it serves the purpose. Now I show you a few failed pile and support systems in Lahore. When we were constructing the system for IT Tower, one day I was attending a conference in Pilates and I received a phone call from one of my colleagues telling me while I was in the seminar that your designed IT tower pile anchors have failed and they have collapsed. You see, I felt as if my heart has stopped. You see, I felt as if I had stopped breathing. वो जैसे होता है ना आपका रंग फक हो जाना जिसको कहते हैं. मैंने कहा लो भी गए. Immediately I came out of the conference hall. I started to drive my car. पहली दफा मुझे जिंदगी में लगा अपनी पूरी लाइफ में that I couldn't drive the car properly. मेरी स्ट्रेंथ नहीं थी स्टीयरिंग पे. मैंने कहा लो भाई ये तो बहुत ही काम खराब है. पहला एक्सपीरियंस और वहां पता नहीं क्या कैजुअलिटीज हो गई हैं, क्या हो गया, ये तो काम खराब है. अच्छा, मैं बाय द टाइम आगे गया तो रास्ते में लगातार गाड़ी रोक के मैं अपने कोलीग से पूछता एंड आई मैनेज टू आस्क सम ऑफ द पर्सन देयर एट आईटी टावर. वहां बंदा मिल गया. मैंने कहा ये गिर गया है, क्या हुआ? उसने कहा नहीं ये नहीं गिरा जी, देयर इज अनदर प्लाजा जिसका नाम आलमगीर टावर है, ये वो गिरा है. तो वो मेरे फिर जान में जान आई. एंड देन आई विजिटेड द साइट एंड सॉ दैट आवर साइड वाज ओके एंड द साइड व्हिच हैज कोलैप्स्ड. उसकी तस्वीरें हमने आपको दिखाते हैं. ये एक बुलेवार्ड हाईवे देखिए, ये क्लासिकल केस था जिसमें एडजेसेंट प्रॉपर्टी हैड स्लिप्ड बिकॉज ऑफ द इनएडिक्वेट डिजाइन एंड कंस्ट्रक्शन. ये देखिए एक तो स्लॉबिंग इनमें काफी हुई हुई है. आपने देखा पाइल में गैप्स क्या किया हुआ है, ये मूवमेंट्स हैं. एंड these houses their floors had moved and developed cracks. ये देखिए ये आलमगीर टावर का जो वो गिरा था ना, this was that. You see, आप समझिए कि इस तरफ या लिखा है ना the whole back face has come down. This is the road side, right? So pile wall is here and on this side also, but this one on the back side collapsed in totality. आप ये देखिए, and the piles they have come down like straws. And I was told that a professor of UT, Dr. Aziz Akbar, was carrying out playroom tests in the basement at the base of the excavation, which was 83 feet deep, a night before. And this incident happened the other day. ये देखें, the whole system is washed down. इसमें क्या मिसाल, ये घर बच गया काफी हद तक. थोड़ा सा इसका अगला भी गया.
It was not anchored, sir.
ये
We cannot see anchored.
Oh, it was anchored. ये देखें आप, मैं आपको दिखाऊं close up कुछ इसके. Can you see here closely? The anchor cables they are pulled out. So the design was somehow adequate or there was something wrong. This plaza जिसकी डिस्कशन मैंने आर्किटेक्ट से की थी एंड वो खुलते नहीं थे, बट आई केम टू नो दैट दे वर नॉट फैमिलियर विद द कांसेप्ट ऑफ redistribution of stresses as is for the strutted or anchored systems. They had used a distribution जो मुझे पता चला which is for the normal overburden pressure triangular distribution of stresses. ये देखिए आपको नजर आ रहा है, पुल आउट हो गए हैं वो एंकर से. ये देखिए ये तारे नजर आ रही हैं, you can see the cables, the strands, ये सारे ये देखिए. So ये देखिए नीचे crane है, तो that is looking like a toy crane under the pile, under the rubble. So it was serious. While the other two sides where high buildings were there, they remained intact. Had those come down, then there would have been a catastrophe. ये तो बहुत inhabited जगह है, आप देख ही रहे हैं लोग और everything. बट अब देख लें आईटी टावर के आपने पाइल देखे थे उनकी क्वालिटी, और ये देखें बोर्ड पाइल की कंस्ट्रक्शन देखें ये कितनी फ्लॉफुल है. कैन यू सी द बल्जिंग एंड यू सी इम्प्रॉपर कंट्रोल ओवर द क्रॉस सेक्शन एंड एवरीथिंग, द लैक ऑफ कंट्रोल ओवर द अलाइनमेंट. ये देखिए बीम्स की मिस अलाइनमेंट. तो इस तरह की जब चीजें हों, पोर क्वालिटी हो, तो खतरा बढ़ जाता है. द रिस्क फैक्टर्स वुड इंक्रीज. Once I was in Makkah, what I saw that there were 4-5 story buildings in the vicinity, and those conventional soldier pile in between leggings, आपको नजर आ रही है ये वुड लेगिंग्स हॉरिजॉन्टल रखी हुई, जो टी या आई सेक्शन है उसके सोलर पाइल्स है, दरमियान वुडन लेगिंग है, और यहाँ वेल्स थी. ऑन दिस होल सिस्टम ऑफ स्ट्रटिंग फ्रेम यू सी पूरी एक्सकवेशन में लगा हुआ टू होल्ड द होल एक्सकवेशन फेसेस, 4 फेसेस. ये मक्का में मैंने देखा था. दिस पिक्चर वाज टेकन बाय मी. दिस And can you see the reinforced blue is the reinforcement bars covered with epoxy coating? Because in Middle East countries, there is very aggressive saline environment. So steel has to be coated properly, you see, quite often. यहाँ इन्होंने epoxy coating वाला steel bars रखी हुई है. So this is an experience which I showed to you and shared with you. So I thank you for bearing with me. मैंने जरा थोड़ा सा जोर लगा के तेज किया, otherwise ये बड़ा late हो जाता. And here, covered with the, you see, flowers. Amongst the flowers, this is me clad in white, looking at you for your questions, further questions.
Sir. Yes, my dear students, please go ahead if you have some questions. Although we have been disturbing Engineer Suhail Kibriya during the presentation, but if you have any more questions, please, you're free to ask. Anyone who, if somebody has questions. Okay, that's like my class.
Dr. Mubashir Sahab, आप इनको बताएं कि this is a part of your course, and they have been given hints here and prompts here, and they need to study. And आप इनको एक assignment दे छोड़ें कि जरा ये करके तो लाएं बच्चों, जरा इसका एक डिजाइन तो करके लाएं.
Exactly, sir. First of all, I would at the end of this very thoughtful presentation, sir, very informative. As far as at least I'm concerned, I've learned a lot of new things from these discussions based on your experience. I really appreciate that after having a very tiring day, long day in NASPAC, you spare time for us for at this time of the resting time, I would say. So I'm grateful. And I think all of the students, they're also obliged and grateful to Engineer Suhail Kibriya for his wonderful presentation. And I would request, sir, if you can share your presentation with us so that we can read it later.
Yeah, I'll share it with you. I have your email address, I suppose, so I will send its PDF to you.
Sir, before we conclude, sir, do you have do you like to give any piece of advice to these young geotechnical engineers listening to you?
Are they experienced too, or all they are novices and just have completed their bachelor's program, or some have some experience of practicing also?
Yeah, some are practicing engineers as well, sir.
Okay, the most important piece of advice to young engineers is that you should develop the habit of developing concepts and studying and reading and observing and then applying, and not finding easy solutions and easy way out for everything. Do consult your seniors and more experienced people, but also put your own mind and your own brain into the mental exercise that is absolutely necessary for your growth. So those who exert and try to understand and try to resolve the problem, समझने की कोशिश करते हैं, और जिसको कहते हैं उर्दू में दीवारों में टकरे मारना. मैंने इंजीनियरिंग ऐसे ही सीखी है, मैं आपको साफ बताऊं, डॉक्टर मुबशिर साहब का भी यही ख्याल होगा. हम दीवारों में टकरे मारने से और खुद सोल्यूशन निकाल 90% सोल्यूशन या 80% मैंने खुद निकाले, 10-15% जो है उसमें गाइडेंस ली. गाइडेंस लेना भी बड़ा ज़रूरी है. एंड व्हाइल यू आर वर्किंग you get, you see, properly aligned by the seniors. उनसे आप गाइडेंस लेते रहें, लेकिन काम खुद करें. Don't expect your seniors to tell you at each and every step. हर मसला हल हो जाता है, मैं आपको बताऊं. अगर आपने गाइडेंस लेके वो 5 मिनट में हल किया है, तो आपने खुद तो ना सोचा, आपने सोचने की वो एफर्ट बेदार नहीं हुई. आप 2 घंटे लगा के कर लें, it is more worth. This is my approach. दूसरा ये है कि प्लीज डेवलप द हैबिट ऑफ कंटिन्यूस हैबिट ऑफ एक्सर्टिंग अ लॉट. आप स्टडी करें, अप्लाई करें, स्टडी करें, अप्लाई करें. दैट इज इंजीनियरिंग. इंजीनियरिंग इज नॉट just signing and becoming an officer and making those practices which are undesirable, unfortunately, in the government department. So they are not acting like engineers. For us, pride is engineering. This is my short message to these young people. And one more thing. Yes, don't consider this thing in your careers that I will join that field because scope there is more. This is, I would say, this is immaterial. If you are hardworking type, and mind you, almost all of you are intelligent, more or less of the same level. There's a little difference. Those who appear more intelligent are those who have worked hard, more hard. जो ज्यादा मेहनत कर रहे होते हैं लगातार लगातार लगातार, वो आपको ज्यादा इंटेलिजेंट दिख रहे होते हैं, होते आप ही की तरह है वो, ठीक है ना। तो ज्यादा मेहनत की आदत डालिए और इसको कंटिन्यूसली जो है ना अपना वो एक शुआर, एक अपना तरीका बना लीजिए. दैट इज योर सक्सेस. एंड नेवर थिंक कि आई विल जॉइन दैट फील्ड बिकॉज उसमें स्कोप ज्यादा है. आई हेट दिस सेंटेंस, मैं आपको सही बताऊं, बिकॉज इफ यू आर हार्ड वर्किंग टाइप then you will become prominent and get exposure automatically. This is a law of nature. अल्लाह ताला खुद रिवॉर्ड देते हैं आपको, आप खुद प्रोमिनेंट हो जाते हैं. आपको स्कोप वगैरह की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती कि बहुत ज्यादा स्कोप है जी. स्कोप उनके लिए होता है जो मीडियोकर्स हैं. डू यू वांट टू रिमेन मीडियोकर? अगर मीडियोकर रहना है तो फिर स्कोप वाले चक्कर में चले, हाँ उसमें स्कोप ज्यादा है, उसमें हम बहती पानी की वेव के साथ हम भी साथ साथ चलते जाएंगे. नो, इफ यू वांट टू राइज, इफ यू वांट टू मेक योर ओन प्लेस, कीप वर्किंग हार्ड. जो भी आपका पैशन है उसके मुताबिक करें. ज्वाइन एनी डिसिप्लिन, एनी फील्ड जहां आपका पैशन है, ठीक है ना जी. पैशन डेवलप भी हो जाता है. पैशन इज नॉट एन अल्टीमेट थिंग. मैं आपको ये भी बताऊं, मैं अपना थोड़ा सा आपको एक वो शेयर करता हूँ, 2 मिनट और. आई ड्यूरिंग माई स्कूल डेज आई वांटेड टू बी एन आर्मी मैन, बट माई मदर वाज डेडली अगेंस्ट दैट आइडिया. इसको फौजी अफसर नहीं बनने देना क्योंकि ये एक ही बेटा है, तो ये काम खराब हो जाएगा, इसको फौज में नहीं जाए. सो दैट वाज, यू सी, माय फर्स्ट प्लेस वेयर माय ambition was not allowed to be met. Then in college, government college, I was the best student in pre-medical pre-engineering, and I had a lot of interest in physics. Physics was my best subject. Astronomical physics, nuclear physics. I wanted to be a physicist सही मायनों में, because मैंने आइंस्टाइन थ्योरी ऑफ रिलेटिविटी के एवरेज रेडिएशन वगैरह भी पढ़ने की कोशिश की और बड़ा मजा आता था. मेरा ख्याल था मैं नासा जैसे इदारे को ज्वाइन करूंगा. There were 2 uncles in my family who were civil engineers, and my father took me to them. दोनों चचा थे कि ये कहता है जी मैंने फिजिक्स पढ़नी है. उन्होंने कहा ये तो इसको पता ही नहीं है, बच्चा ये सिविल इंजीनियरिंग इज द राइट थिंग. उस जमाने में बड़े वो अफसर बनते थे सिविल इंजीनियरिंग करके सरकारी महकमों में. मेरे दोनों चचा सरकारी महकमों में बड़े ऑफिसर थे. मैंने कहा ये तो बड़ा मुश्किल हो गया. मैंने बड़ी रिक्वेस्ट की अपनी फैमिली में कि लेट मी बिकम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स इंजीनियर बिकॉज दैट विल बी क्लोजेस्ट टू फिजिक्स. मैं फिजिक्स तो पढ़ सकूंगा, बट आई वाज नॉट अलाउड. बन के सिविल इंजीनियर बन के भी आई वाज हैविंग सेकंड पोजीशन इन द डिपार्टमेंट. कोई बात नहीं, आप अपना ट्रैक चेंज करते हैं, आप मेहनत करते हैं, आप कामयाब हो जाते हैं. My interest in BS civil engineering was to the maximum in structures and in the subject of structures. This soil mechanics, geotechnical engineering was number 2 choice. UT में यहाँ I started as a lecturer. तो 45-50 लोगों में अगेन मेरी पहली पोजीशन आ गई. उन्होंने मुझे सिलेक्ट किया और मुझे कहा आपको सॉइल का सब्जेक्ट देना है, इसके टीचर कम है. मुझे 3rd ईयर की क्लास दे दी. I was a young chap. मैं जीन्स और कैजुअल ड्रेस जॉगर्स पहनने वाला, तो उसी तरह क्लास में आ जाते थे. And I was teaching 3rd year in a very young age. तो वो मुझे सॉइल में इंटरेस्ट होना शुरू हो गया. When I joined NESPAC after 2 years, they said, "You gentlemen, you are very good in soils, and we want a good engineer in soil. तो आपको तो हम लेंगे जियोटेक्निकल में, स्ट्रक्चर्स में नहीं लेना आपको." लो जी, मेरा ट्रैक चेंज होते 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 जियोटेक्निकल. Now I feel at this stage that it is my passion. मुझे बड़ा मजा आता है इसमें, जियोटेक्निकल इंजीनियरिंग में. तो ये ना समझा करें कि नाकामी हुई है या कोई आपसे किसी वजह से आपको कोई चीज नहीं मिली या नहीं लेने दी गई कि बस गए हम, बस अब तो मैंने कुछ नहीं करना. आप देखें, आप कामयाबी लगातार हासिल कर सकते हैं बाय हार्ड वर्क. मेरा ख्याल है मैंने बड़ा लंबा मैसेज दे दिया आपको, शायद आप में से कुछ को अच्छा लगा हो.
सर रियली वेरी थॉटफुल मैसेज इंडीड. हमारे लिए मशले राह है और आपकी वैसे भी कंट्रीब्यूशन और आपकी पर्सनालिटी भी हमारे लिए मशले राह रहती है. I'm sure all the students they have learned a lot from this presentation. Sir, again I would like to thank you कि आपने अपने इतने बिजी स्केड्यूल में से इतनी मसरूफ लाइफ में से दिन को आप नेस्पाक से आए थके हुए थे और अभी आपने हमारे लिए टाइम निकाला. I'm really grateful. Thank you very much, sir, and I hope that we will have these kind of sessions in future as well, inshallah.
In future as well,
Inshallah.
inshallah. And thank you very much. Take
Thank
care,
you
all
very
of
much,
you.
sir.
Allah Hafiz.